Baskets is a concept that was introduced to me during time that I spent at a small spiritual school in India. And they're based on ancient Vedic teachings about the time frames from conception through 6 hours after birth. The Vedic teachings about these time frames says that the root of all dysfunction, disease, and disorder of humanity can be traced to disruption in one of these baskets, which to me also means that all health, happiness, and wholeness can also be traced back to these baskets, to our baskets. Building upon this concept of the four baskets, I've drawn on my other life experiences as a mother, as a midwife, as a student of psychology and nature to birth the four baskets healing process and facilitator training. As the primary foundation of life, the four baskets hold our primal experiences. These are experiences that leave a lasting imprint and form the core lens through which we perceive the rest of our life. The four baskets creates a template for how we will be in relationship with ourselves, our parents, our partners, our children, and our world. There is a blueprint that we incarnate with, and it is source connection. It is infinite potential and holds access to our wholeness and our oneness. As your consciousness, and your blueprint meet together with life experience, which begins at conception, it encodes layers of this information. Now think about the word inform as to take form. Our experiences inform our beingness. And this encoded information we call in the four baskets imprints. These imprints are what give us our unique qualities and attributes. These imprints are your blueprint needing experience to give you the qualities of strength and determination, compassion, your connection to inner knowing, your sense of groundedness and beingness in the world, your motivations. And some of these imprints that are formed from conception through gestation, your birth experience, and the first 6 hours after birth, sometimes when we meet certain experiences, an imprint can form that holds a piece of unresolved energy for us. An experience that we did not have the capacity to integrate at the time. And these become a holding pattern in which life orchestrates to bring us back to this unresolved energy over and over again, giving us the opportunity to see it from a new perspective, giving us the opportunity to touch back into the blueprint of wholeness that is underneath and within the imprint, to resolve the energy and gain a new quality or attribute of our wholeness that the blueprint has been holding there for us for when we're ready to receive. For this reason, I like to think about imprints being like an impression, like a footprint in the sand. When you're walking on the beach and you leave those footprints, you can see that it's all still sand. The sand is the blueprint, the infinite source of wholeness and pure potential that we all come into form with. And the imprints are an impression that is made, or a little holding nest, a small little womb of its own that's holding on to a piece of energy that we don't have the capacity to resolve in our younger life, but it brings it back to us again later in life when we may have what we need to integrate it at that time. The Four Baskets process is a supported journey of self-discovery that brings the light of awareness to these earliest experiences in your life. A time that has often been veiled in mystery and modern science chalks up to being forgotten. But this is far from the truth. When you take a Four Baskets journey, you discover ways to unlock access to these imprints and these encoded memories and energies. And you gain skills for integrating them from your inner world into your outer world. So let's look at the first basket. Conception is a dance, a conversation, and a fusion that creates possibility. There is an enormous bright flash of light right at the moment of conception, which I like to think of as your own personal Big Bang, the beginning of everything. And woven into the first basket are the ideas of you. As a self-organizing being, you have ideas for yourself and for this life. What those ideas you brought to this life are encoded in the first basket. The environment of your conception, which includes the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of your mother and father, and your first 8 weeks in the womb. This is the embryological period or time frame where you are beginning to be formed morphologically, not quite yet physically. So it's like the idea or imagination of what will be formed as you and your body. Someone with a strong and integrated first basket, we might see having a strong sense of purpose later in life. They may be highly motivated and connected to their inner knowing. Some unresolved energies possible in the first basket often revolve around a need to be seen or to be chosen. It is more complicated, however, than a strictly X equals Y equation, meaning if you had this experience, you will have this imprint. It's more complicated than that. For instance, someone who was conceived without an intent to conceive does not automatically mean that you'll have a certain experience later in life. There are too many layers and influences. Most importantly being, how did you feel about that experience? What parts of that experience were you able to accept and integrate? And what parts, if any, were you not able to resolve in the moment? These are the nuances that we discover together in our Four Baskets work. Every living thing on our planet, every organism is self-organizing. This includes plants, animals, and minerals. In biology, self-organizing would be defined as an organization that results from local interactions only, not an externally imposed pattern. So just like a seed that contains everything it needs to become the plant it will become, it organizes itself into being. No one is there telling it to sprout now, or wait until later, or put on more leaves, or send down more roots. You are also a fractal of that self-organization. Our Earth is self-organizing. Each species is self-organizing and has their own morphic field of resonance. We can easily see this in a murmuration of a flock of birds, where they seem to have a collective consciousness and they know not only where each member of the flock is, but also where each one is going, where they are all going, and they don't bump into each other. Each member within the species is self-organizing. Each organ within the body is self-organizing. So you are not a product of your parents. You organized yourself into being. So when we think about that, someone who is and putting that with conception, someone who wishes to conceive a child is simply holding space for that conception to happen. She's giving a part of herself to the universe for a short time, giving her body as a vessel for the creative power of the universe to bring life onto earth. She's not growing a baby. She's a vessel, a host, allowing the universe to bring life through her. A mother withdraws her bioidentity during pregnancy and creates a privileged site to host another soul. This reminds me often of the poem or verse from the prophet Khalil Gibran. It's entitled On Children, and I often like to sing it. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and the daughters of life, longing for itself. They come through you, but they are not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you.